Hey guys, this is Will from the Real Reality. Um, I'm gonna post a bachelor video right now, and it's not gonna be the episode review video because I'm a little behind on that. I'm on episode 3 out of 7 right now, so that the episode review will go up probably on next week because I'll be able to catch up by then. But for this video, I thought I'd discuss something a little bit different. And that's the fact that this season, even though I've only watched like 3 episodes, is reminding me that this is not like Survivor. For anyone who hasn't watched that and has just watched The Bachelor or vice versa, um, it's a show where you vote people out based off of anything that you want, whether it be strategy or you don't like the person or whatever, and you can lie, you can manipulate, you can do all that sort of stuff, and it's like a game. It's like a human game of chess is what Survivor is. The Bachelor, on the other hand, is a game or not. It's not really a game, and that's the first point. It's not a game. It's an actual. You're trying to find somebody to marry, whether it be unconventional or not, and that's the main difference between the two. And you're trying to treat people with more etiquette and more patience and kindness and all this other stuff. Well, you know, there's some contestants on The Bachelor this year that are not treating people with patience and kindness, and it's just like, and it's just like, what are you doing? Because this is not Survivor. If you want to go on an island, you can go on an island, and if you want to do that stuff, you can go on an island and fight it out that way, and you can lie and you can manipulate, and it's within the game's rules. Here, it's kind of like you're just trying to stand out, but not be standing out like a jerk or anything like that. So, chief among them right now in the first like 3 episodes is Victoria, because she's just not somebody who you would want to marry. She came into night 1, for anyone who hasn't seen that, with a tiara on her head, thinking that, oh, I'm the king of this castle, and all the other 29 or 30, 31 of you, bow down to me because I'm gonna win this thing. And I mean, that's great. Have confidence in yourself and everything, but at the same time, be respectful of other people, and also, that's just not the way that you should roll, because the Bachelor, you're trying to look for a spouse and you don't want them to be all about themselves. At least I wouldn't. And everything. And she can't go about this process like she's the one voting people out, because technically Matt, which, is the one voting people out because he's the Bachelor, and you eventually whittle down the field to like 4 or 3 so you can actually pick a wife in this case, or if it was the Bachelor, a husband. But and it would be the girl picking. But this is not something you can just vote people out of. And she's speaking in her confessionals, not even to the camera. Like, she can vote people out. Like, she's like, oh, Matt should get rid of her, or Matt should get rid of this person or that, seeming like she has control over the entire situation, like she has a vote, which she doesn't. But I just find that interesting that she thinks she has that much control. Now, here's the kicker with all this. In Survivor, you manipulate, you lie to get what you want, and and you may not particularly lie. You just may not tell all of the facts, and you're not going to tell everybody all your moves because it's a game and you got to play it like chess. You wouldn't tell your opponent in chess what you're going to do, with the next move. So she's setting up fights between the girls so that they look bad, so that she's the last one standing, or at least that's how it appears, because she just attacked Marilyn in the in the episode, saying that oh you bullied me, or oh you said some stuff about me, when it's very clear in the footage that Marilyn didn't say anything at all. And it's kind of like he said she said at that point, because what she does is she brings it to Matt, which honestly, he's a nice guy, and he's very he's a Christian guy, he's a nice guy, but you just don't bring your petty squabbles to the guy that you're dating, because that's not what he's here for. And he's trying to figure it all out, because he goes, okay, bullying's not okay, which it's not. So she's trying to figure out between Marilyn and Victoria what to do. And this is after him and Marilyn just had an easy conversation or whatever. And it's not a coincidence that Victoria just did this after they had an easy conversation, because she sees her as a threat. So she did this probably very purposefully. And that's what that is. So Matt doesn't know who to believe at this point. If I were the Bachelor, I'd go and say, now, granted, I'd probably go on the Survivor before the Bachelor, because I don't think that's something I want to do. But I'd go and say, okay, so the two of you come here, because I don't know them. You got to remember that these people have only known each other for 2 weeks, so you really don't get to know them at this point very well. And so, and there's 32 people in the house, right? At this point. So what I would do is I would gather all of them in the living room and hash it out with the entire house. Because what that does is it says, raise your hand if this is true, raise your hand if it's not true. And if the majority of the house is saying it's true, then that means that person's lying. Or if they don't raise their hands at all, that means the other person's lying. And I don't have to waste time figuring out who it is, And I just feel like it's very important, because it's a time waster. This is a game of, if we're going to use the word game, which it's not really, but if we're going to use the word game, it's a, time is the amount or the amount of points that you get because you're trying to date the person. So, knowing that, and knowing that my time is valuable, I'd go and say, okay, we're going to squash this as quickly as possible, and we're going to use the whole house to do it, and treat it like a Survivor vote. Okay, because I know, whichever one's telling the truth is the good one, and whichever one's not telling the truth is basically, I don't want to say the bad one, but the one in the wrong, and I'd most likely get rid of them unless I had a very good connection with them. But at this point, I don't think I'd have that good of a connection with them to treat them that way or whatever. So I'd get rid of the one that was disrupting the house, because everyone's focus should be on trying to see if there is a connection, because it's no joke. I mean, you're trying to get married at the end of the show, and no distractions. So that's what I would do. And the other thing from episode I think it was 3 that I watched was that I think it was Sarah. She had a great one-on-one date with Matt earlier. It was cute, and she opened up to him about her family, and I'm sad that she has to go through that. But at the same, which because her father has Alzheimer's. Um, so she opened up to him about that. But what she doesn't understand is she's freaking out in episode 3 because she can't stand him dating other women. I'm like, did you read the description of the show? Because if you read the description of the show, you would have realized that this is what's going on. Because, I mean, in the normal world, you would only date one person at a time. And, you either like each other and stick together and get married, or you don't like each other and you break up and, you don't get married. But in this case, there's like 32 other women because it's like speed dating really quickly. And he's going to be, kissing other women, having relationships with other women because that's the name of the show. And the fact that she's not okay with that, even though she signed up for the show, is really, like, I don't know. I wouldn't say wrong because it's actually kind of commendable that she's feeling that way. Because that means she's invested. But at the same time, it's like not right to sign up for a show on this and not know the rules. And you can tell that by the other women that she goes and interrupts Matt on a group date that she wasn't on, which, for a clarification, a group date is when there's like 15 women at once, and they all talk to Matt, and usually when you're not on a group date, you don't go, talking to him because you didn't win, or you didn't, or you weren't a part of the group that went. So, when that happened, they were all mad because what you fight for in here is time. And again, time is the commodity, and she just wasted like 5 girls' time, 6 girls' time. I didn't even count. It's probably more like 10 at this point. And that's why everyone's mad, because she's playing the hard game. And whether she wanted to do it or not, she wasted other people's time, which skyrockets her time with him, right? So it puts her in the forefront, and it's like she's playing Survivor, trying to steal either an immunity or or an idol from from the other tribe or something, because it's kind of just wrong, and especially when you already had a date and this is what you want to talk about, and she's still there. And when he got back from his group date the one night, he went to her to console her because he's a nice guy. But the other women don't see it that way because they were upset, and rightfully so. And I just don't feel like that was right, because you know what you signed up for. And I think that while the other women should give her grace about that, maybe a little bit, they have a right to be a little upset because it's the name of the game. And if I were on the show, I would respect the rules, and I'd go and say, yeah, I feel for you, right? And I want to spend time with them. But if I were the Bachelor, just out of respect for the other girls, I would probably try to spend at least even amount of times with them. Unless I was really sure that I didn't want them there, then I'd send them home. That's the whole point of sending them home, because you don't know whether you want to keep them. And if you don't know, then send them home. But it's just something that I'm surprised she did, because I'm like, didn't you, if you just wanted a normal relationship, then just go out in the world and try to, find somebody. But it's not normal. It's not under normal circumstances, and it's not wrong what the other girls are doing. I mean, it's not like they're all, having intimate things with him. Neither are you yet. So it's just talking. And obviously, in order to see whether your relationship with him is real or not, or let him see whether it's real, he has to talk to other girls. If he doesn't get the same experience from you as other girls, well then, it is what it is. And you win. But that's the whole point, because you can't win someone's heart, because that's what they're playing for, if you don't let other people in and challenge that relationship. I'd see it as a challenge and a go ahead, because, I'm comfortable where I'm at, and I'm not going to try to win by not letting him spend any of the time with any other people, because that's just not, what I would do. So anyway, that's my take on why this season of The Bachelor has turned into a Survivor fiasco, and this is only episode 3. So there's probably plenty more where that came from, and I can't wait for it. So what'll happen is I'll post a video next Monday doing the Bachelor stuff. I'm almost done with The Last Crusade. I have a couple more pages in that book. Then I'll post a review of that as well. And that'll probably post tomorrow, Thursday. And I'll go back and do a anime comparison with that as well, because I believe that's on the schedule. Sort of for right now, that will probably be happening sometime next week, because I have the Ultimate Collection, which means I have all the books. So we'll get to that. But because I'm doing an anime